Very true. All right, so here's the update from the Kohberger family. This is via the Chief Public Defender and Counsel for Mr. Kohberger. They say, first and foremost, we deeply care for the 4 families who have lost their precious children. There are no words that can adequately express the sadness we feel, and we pray each day for them. We will continue to let the legal process unfold, and as a family, we will love and support our son and brother. We have fully cooperated with law enforcement agencies in an attempt to seek the truth and promote his presumption of innocence rather than judge unknown facts and make erroneous assumptions. We respect privacy in this matter as our family and the families suffering loss can move forward through the legal process. So they're kind of just putting out a generic statement here. And, saying they support law enforcement. And who is the Kohberger family? Who is Kohberger? Kohberger's this dude, Bryan Kohberger. He's the suspect who was arrested the other day. He's the prime suspect, really the only suspect in this that the police are after, that the police have caught. He was a graduate student at a nearby university. Now, he wasn't at, and this is an alternative photo of here. So he was not at University of Idaho. He was at DeSales University right across the border in Washington, like a 10-minute drive away. This photo looks a lot weirder than this one. He looks like he's out of some sort of movie again, a sort of movie in this. So there are a lot of theories about this guy. And I want to say first and foremost, and I said this before, but we really need to hold off on the innocent until proven guilty with this guy. I mean, I'm going to give you the facts, but we need to see it in a trial. And I'm all here for this on trial. I'm all here for, hey, if you think he did it, put him on trial. But here's what we know about the guy. He was a criminology grad student. He was caught in Pennsylvania with his family. He asked some creepy questions. He wanted to prove he was always smart in class. And this is from a Pennsylvania bar owner. He made some staff uncomfortable. So this is a report from the news. So I take it with a little bit more seriousness. Yes, it was on Reddit, but I do take it with a little bit more seriousness because it was like a news article. Of course, I don't take it as facts, but I just want to read through this one because I think this one is a little bit more reliable than speculation on Reddit posts. So this bar owner said Kohberger made staff uncomfortable with creepy comments earlier this year. Some residents interviewed by NBC News recounted run-ins with Kohberger prior to the slayings in Idaho. Jordan Searleneck, who lives in Center Valley and the owner of the Seven Sirens Brewing Company, said Kohberger came to his brewery a few times, and female staff would complain about his behavior, so he had trouble with the ladies. Now, I will say, I'm gonna put this out here. They're probably, and I'm going to call this, they're probably going to call this guy some sort of like incel killer and whatnot, and trying to put it at him being a guy and make it a sexist thing and make it a blah, blah, blah. But to me, if this guy is a criminology graduate student, this guy was studying how to get away with the perfect murder, I think it's more about him being weird and obsessed than him being a man. That's my 2 cents. And I hope they don't go down that narrative because it's a lame, tired narrative to paint everyone, like Nick said here, incel, alt-right, yada, yada. But you can see it coming, right? You can kind of see it on the writing on the wall. Cyril next said the brewery is located in the college town, and it's not unusual for them to get unusual characters. Of course, it's a bar. You have characters at a bar, of course. But he remembered Kohberger from some interactions he had with female patrons and staff. Kohberger would come and by himself, sit at the bar and be observing and watching. Cyril next said staff scans everyone ID, so they had a system where they can add notes about a patron that pop up when his ID is scanned. Staff put in there, hey, this guy makes creepy comments, keep an eye on him. He'll have 2 or 3 beers and just gets a little too comfortable. Now, I know this is weird for some people, but you can scan the IDs. I know people were a little, weirded out by that, but I've had my ID scanned several bars, especially going back to the US recently. I feel like it's happening a little bit more recently. I don't like it. It's really cutting in on the fake ID market, but it is what it is. So Cyril next said Kohberger would ask the female staff or customers who they're at the brewery with where they lived. He said if a woman blew him off, he would get upset with them a little bit. Noting that one time he called one of the staff members a bitch when she refused to answer his questions. So there you go. Drama in the front, party in the back says they already used his registered libertarian status and his alleged racist comments he made to paint him as alt-right. Yeah, and this is the problem. Just because you're a member of a political party and you make some fucking bad comments doesn't mean you're part of a particular group. It doesn't mean that you can lump all these people in together. I mean, think about it. Did they lump in all of these weird, crazy Democrats that are committing crimes? No. They ignore them. They'll bury those stories. These interactions were months ago, likely when Kohberger was a student at DeSales. During their final interaction, Cyril next said he approached Kohberger. I went up to him and said, hey, Bryan, welcome back. We appreciate you coming in. I just wanted to talk to you real quick and make sure you're going to be disrespectful this time and we're not going to have issues. He said Kohberger was taken aback. He was shocked that I was saying that. And he said, I don't know what you're talking about. You have me totally confused. He said Kohberger had 1 beer and left and he never came back to the brewery. So when he got called out, he bounced. That kind of sounds like somebody that's a little weird, right? Socially awkward. Or doing some weird shit. I do agree, though, Florence. We can't go 5 minutes without trying to tie murder with political affiliation. No, and I would prefer we didn't. And I would prefer it's universal. But, the thing is that because it's always called out and it's always painted on one side of the picture here, I feel like when there's a situation, I try to get to the facts of it and be like, okay, what was this guy really, though? Like, he wasn't, what was his real interest here? There's a lot of weird libertarians. Yeah, vegan is it honestly, if you're a vegan, that's more of a religion, that's more of an identifier than a political party. Veganism, certainly more telling for a person's personality. I agree with that. Way more of a personality test. It's a bizarre case. But I'll stay on it. And I'm going to keep on this one as they process it, as we learn more about him. So one of the theories was that there was this guy who was making weird Reddit posts called Inside Looking, and there was some speculation this was him. I don't like that theory because number one, anybody can post on Reddit. Number two, there's some fucking weirdos out there. And number three, when things go cold and they're cold cases, people start acting weird. And when there's a lot of media on stuff, people start acting weird, particularly on Reddit where there's no filter. There's no barriers. So I'm not buying that 100%. But if he did post on Reddit about this, if he did want somebody to find him or, was very involved in this and tracking this, I wouldn't be surprised as a criminology student. I think the motive here certainly could be, can I get away with a crime? And if he had an issue with women, that would be fine. But also, it's more likely if you're picking out victims and he's a criminology student, the female victim is typically the go-to for notoriety and press. And he knew if he just murdered another dude, he wouldn't get the same press if he's a guy who's studied murders. If he's trying to create a huge murder scene, right? Something that's going to go national. He knows, hey, the blonde white girl, that's where you got to go. The blonde white girl is going to get the maximum press exposure. Billy Aoki says alt left grifters are alt left. Yes, alt left, SJWs, far left, radicals, all of them. But the truth is, the funny thing is, Billy, is that's not even really a joke anymore. See, the sad thing is, it's not a joke because all of them are these extremists, especially the ones that are on the internet, that are on social media. They're so far, it's not even funny. But if you look at the other side of the spectrum, you've got a lot of people that are centrists, that are only really right on one or two issues, that are only really, they have like one or two base takes, and the rest are just like pure socialism or establishment or, mainstream. They'll have one or two good things, and the rest